Principle number 8, the principle of understanding. Difficulties, inconveniences, obstacles, problems, conflicts, contradictions. This is our daily bread. It is for everyone who is thinking and working at doing something worthwhile with his life. For the person who is not thinking of doing anything or doesn't want to do anything anyway, this is not a problem. My friend, I hope you are trying to make something of value out of your life. If this is the case, then your daily walk is full of the inconveniences of difficulties, obstacles, problems, conflicts, and contradictions. Then it is the most important for the fulfillment of your plan of life that you can differentiate between them. Let's think for a moment. What is an inconvenience? When an inconvenience arises, what is it? What is a difficulty? What is an obstacle? What is a problem? What is a conflict? What is a contradiction? The inconveniences are small annoyances that come up along one's way. As traveling from one city to another, I get a flat tire. This is not a problem nor a difficulty. It is not an obstacle nor a conflict or a contradiction, not even a problem. It is just an inconvenience. Now, if I do not have a spare tire, then it turns into an obstacle. If I do not have the money to buy a spare tire, then there is a problem, but never a contradiction or a conflict. A difficulty is when I'm doing something and it becomes difficult to do, or I don't know how to do it. An obstacle is something that confronts us on our way. A problem is something to be solved. It is a situation. You should start to consider the difficulty, the obstacle, the inconvenience, and the problem as challenges to your capabilities. You must face them and consider them challenges because they motivate you to perform. If you are one of those that are afraid of problems, difficulties, inconveniences, and/or obstacles, then you must start to change your mental attitude towards them. They are veiled opportunities, hidden so you can develop more fully the potential you have within you. You must start to change your mental attitude towards them. You must eliminate your worries and fears. You must understand that all of us, during our lives, considered these things as a negative event, but they are actually possibilities or situations in which we can develop the potential within us. One of the best ways to do this is to prepare 4 large drawing sheets. On the first one, label it, "The problem is a challenge to my ability." On the second one, "The difficulties are veiled opportunities to develop my potential." Third, "The inconvenience is a possibility to develop my capabilities to improvise spontaneously." Then last, "An obstacle is a possibility to develop my capabilities of discernment and my capability to discern and act in a prompt manner." For 49 days, try as hard as you can not to run away from those situations, but face them instead. Now then, the contradiction is something entirely different. We saw it in the 5th principle, and now you know how to handle it. So now we have to see about the conflict. But first, you have to learn to differentiate between what is an inconvenience and what is an obstacle. What is a problem? What is a difficulty? A contradiction, and a conflict. We normally are confused about them and treat them in the same manner, reacting towards all of them in a similar way. This is a big mistake. To learn how to tell them apart, let's do the following exercise. Open up a notebook and ask yourself the following question. Write it down. What are the inconveniences I have now? What are the ones I have had in the past? Write them all down. Make an effort to gather them from your memory and your actual situations. Second, what are the difficulties I have now? Write them all down. What are the ones I have had in the past? And so on and so forth. Third, what are the obstacles? What are the problems? And when you have all the answers, you will analyze them and think about the differences between the one and the other. Fourth, conflict is an entirely different matter. Yes, the difficulty, the obstacle, the inconvenience, and the problem should be considered as challenges, causing us to move and act. If you are a person of action, the contradiction and the conflict would hold you trapped in a closed circle and not allow you to move forward. To be able to understand and know what to do when we are in a conflict, we have to look closely at the eighth principle for the liberation of man. Our common Father has provided for us, His creatures, who are on the road returning home. He has given them the 12 principles of light, 12 principles of order and harmony for the realization of their life plan. All who carry out these principles during their lives will find open doors toward their liberation. The eighth principle states the following. You will make your conflicts disappear when you understand them down to their last root, and not when you want to solve them. I repeat, you will make your conflicts vanish when you comprehend them to their last root cause, and not when you just want to solve them. If you meditate on this principle, you will immediately realize that throughout your life, you have been trying to find solutions to your conflicts, this being one of the reasons why you have been enslaved, repeating endless mistakes. Let's analyze this principle. What do we mean about overcoming conflicts? What about not having to solve them? A conflict, my travel companion, has one cause, and unless you can arrive at the bottom of its cause, at the root of it, to the key point where it arose, it will remain confronting you. But if you are able to identify the root cause, it will disappear from your life. A conflict is a mental matter. It is an absolute mental situation. Now let's see what a conflict is. What is a conflict to you? Write down all the conflicts that you have at this time. Write them all down, disregarding if you find it difficult to describe them fully. A conflict is when you think one way about something internal or external, and your reality is different. Then there is a clash within you. Can you think of a situation similar to this example? This is the example. Your wife looks after the children, prepares the meals, takes care of the house, and is a sexual mate. But for some reason, her behavior changes. For some reason, she has a hard time doing her household duties, or she is not satisfied by doing them, creating a conflict. What can be done in this case? What to do? First, you must analyze it. Why do I think my wife must do this or that? Where do I get this way of thinking about this situation? Is what I think about my wife's behavior correct? Is she right when she protests doing what I think she should be doing? What is the truth about this? What is the truth about the behavior of a spouse at home? We are arriving at a key point with these thoughts because conflicts cannot be solved unless we find the truth behind them. The truth, the discerning what the cosmos has provided for us in each situation, will carry us to understand the root cause of the conflict and will cause it to disappear. My friend, we live in a cosmos of order where there are laws and principles, standards of conduct, and steps to take for all actions in life. There is a global truth, and this truth carries smaller truths for all occasions. He who does not investigate the truth for each conflict will simply continue repeating it over and over. If you tell your spouse that she has to do something and she says no, there is a clash. There is a conflict. One day you may exceed. The other you might not. And then you might react violently. Perhaps she accepts today but remains unhappy. She feels hurt and is unhappy doing what you think she should be doing. What can help you? To arrive at the truth and find the role of the woman in a home, the true function provided by the cosmos and not by some other source, not by what you have seen from your parents or from society. If your wife can adapt to this truth and recognize that this is the way it is, and if you too can change your way of thinking about the role of a wife in the home by adapting to the cosmic principle, then the conflict will vanish. You will realize that normally we struggle when confronted. We try to solve conflicts by imposing our opinion or our criteria on the other person. This is the normal way we try to solve a problem, but it does not remain solved. If one could understand a conflict, how and where it occurred, he would pause and search for the cause instead of just automatically reacting. One side of him thinks in one way, and the other side sees things in a completely different way. Then there is a conflict, a serious conflict that does not involve anybody else. If this were my case and I tried to impose the criteria of one side over the other, I would only make the conflict worse. I would get nowhere. Let's say my right foot wants to step forward, but my left one does not. This is a bad situation because I'm immobilized. I can't do anything. How do I solve the situation? It is very simple. Start investigating the root of the conflict. How did this conflict arise? By looking for the cosmic truth about the type of situation this is. Is this clear? Well, let's continue by writing down all the conflicts you have at present, and you probably have quite a few. All of your conflicts are based on what you have been taught in the past, and as a result of your own experiences from your own life, your friends and others, your wife, your children. You have acquired set ideas from all of these things. But when the present conditions in your life do not adjust to your way of thinking, then there are conflicts. What do you think about work? What is an occupation? What are your ideas about a job? What are your ideas about your boss? What are your ideas regarding your spouse? What do you think about life? What do you think about your fellow human beings, about society, about humanity? To each of these points, you must start a page. Write down all that you think about each one of them. Then ask yourself the following question. Is what I think about others in accordance with what I see? Here, you will find evident conflicts. What to do? Simply put, investigate and search for the truth hiding behind the apparent conflict. According to the cosmos, what is life? Write down this question. Why and for what do we live? According to the Creator, according to the law, What is the world for? Why and for what do I exist? According to the law and the truth, what should my behavior be toward my spouse? My attitude towards my spouse. Yes, I am bringing up the word my attitude, the same as used in my children, my work, and so on. According to the cosmos, how should I live with myself? As you can see, my friend, one must search. One must search carefully for the truth. The truth is the light that can vanquish all conflicts. And a man without conflicts is a powerful man, a man of great strength. The essence of conflict uses up the energy within us. It saps our capacity for action. Our world is full of people who are involved in permanent conflicts and who cannot do a thing about them either. You must realize this fact because a person in conflict is immobilized. A part of him wants to move forward while the other wants to hold back. As usual, the forces are equal and the person is immobilized. Or when the person is willing to do something in the external world, he finds he is confronted by a tremendous force of opposition. If this is a person who thinks about doing things in a certain way, while the truth is different, he won't get anywhere. Then he will try to force his way, only to end up losing his strength, or the will to try, to solve the conflict while finding that the result is not what he expected. As you can see, my friend, this is hard and difficult work. The investigation of the truth about our way of thinking is the general rule of the eighth principle. How do I think about this or that situation? What is my way of thinking about life? And what do I want out of life? Let us suppose that you want happiness, pleasure, general well-being, riches. Is this what our Creator has provided for mankind? Is this what makes sense out of this life? To give you another example, every person that thinks he is placed in this life to be happy, to earn lots of money, and to have pleasure and enjoyment is wrong and will face tremendous conflicts. I can tell you this right now. We live to experience evolution. The life in us must evolve, and he who starts to think about life as a possibility to evolve will start to eliminate the conflicts between himself and life. Evolution can include being well, being happy. Yes, it can, but it is not the true purpose of life. The reason for life is not to be married, to have children, to have an occupation, or go to the movies. He who thinks this is life is asking for big problems. Conflict will be a permanent part of his life. While he who thinks of life in terms of evolution and in terms of working towards being perfect each day, just as our Creator has conceived and sees us, his conflicts about life will vanish. This is the word. Mental attitude is either a bad or a correct relationship with every department of life, and it can eliminate all conflicts. How? By knowing the truth about each part of life. Study this part of the lesson and do the exercises for 49 days. I must give you a warning here. Unless you ask our common Creator to shower light on your mind and heart, all of your efforts will be futile and in vain. Ask of your Creator that the spark of light and understanding within you shine on the darkness of your mind and your body and your heart. Ask this every day for the 49 days and work at it. Do it. In the second part, we will look at more details about this eighth principle. Remember this. You will make your conflicts vanish when you understand them to the last root cause and not when you want to solve the conflicts yourself. I repeat, you will eliminate your conflicts when you can understand their cause and not when you want to solve them yourself. So take action. What is a mental attitude? It's our way of thinking about something, and the way of thinking brings us to a relationship with this something. Open up a notebook for the 8th principle and divide it into 7 equal parts. Write down in the first part, what is my mental attitude? What is my way of thinking about life? And what is the truth about life? In the next part, what is my way of thinking about the world? What is the truth about the world? In the third, what is my way of thinking about others? Here you will write down the names of the people with whom you are close. What is the truth about this person, the next, and the other? Fourth, what is my way of thinking about my spouse? Go deep inside for the truth about your spouse, and don't forget the truth is that which the cosmos wants us to learn. What is the truth about my children and about children in general? What is my way of thinking about children? Is the truth about children the same as my thinking about them? Here you may have an important conflict. Sixth part, what is my way of thinking about society? What is the truth about society? Last part, what is my way of thinking about myself and my activities? What is the truth about myself and about what I have to do? The analysis made on these 7 points will bring you to acknowledge much that is true about yourself. Possibly, after many investigations, you will see the cosmic truth about each of your parts. And then, while you are discovering these truths, you will change your relationships and harmonize your life. What is a relationship? A relationship is the way through which we get closer to something. If a person is afraid of life, how can he relate to it? If a person underestimates another, how can he relate to this other? Very well. Write down the word relationship and ask yourself the following question. In each of the parts of the notebook, what is my relationship with life? Is it correct, or how should it be? What is my relationship with others? And what is my relationship with my spouse and with my children? How do I relate to them? How do I get close to them? How should it be? Yes, my friend, we need the truth, the absolute truth. Remember that all our conflicts come from the fact that during our childhood, during our growing years, our minds were filled with information about everything from sources outside of us. Regretfully, this information is not related to the cosmic truth, so we have to review it. We must analyze the difference between our way of thinking and the cosmic truth. Here lies the hidden root to all of our conflicts. If you first try and then succeed in solving them, they will disappear the moment you understand them. But remember my earlier warning. Don't try to do this alone, because light is needed along your effort. You need the light from your Creator. You need the light of the law, the light of truth, and it lies within the deepest part of yourself. If you are prudent and impartial, if you feel you can do this work as if you were someone else, and if you are able to go deeply within with your meditations and reflect on all parts of your life, and if you are humble enough to ask for the light, in all probability the truth will come to your mind, and you will be able to vanquish your conflicts as you understand them. To understand and comprehend something is to see its light. It is to see it in its deepest truth. This principle that you are going to implement and that we are recommending you do are things that we have done ourselves in the past. All of these things came to us from others. These others did themselves earlier. And this sequence goes back in time to the very beginning. These principles have been given to all men who are enslaved by their conflicts for their liberation, and even for the world's. Many have done this before you. I am taking it for granted that you will also do what we advise. I consider that you are a person of goodwill, intelligent, and for this reason I am going to give you the key to conscious thinking. That is, how to penetrate to the deepest reason about something, how to reach the truth about something. Open up your notebook and take a careful note of the following. During a period of 3 months, I repeat 3 months, yes, 120 days, once a day, each day, consider a different problem. It could be an object, a person, a situation, an inconvenience, a conflict, and think about them thoroughly in the following manner. First, think about its origin. Second, the reason for the origin. Third, its history. Fourth, its qualities and attributes. Fifth, objects, situations, conditions, and people related or connected. Sixth, their use and application. Seventh, effects and results. Eighth, what is explainable and proven. Ninth, is it possible that something can be used in the future? And 10th, your opinion regarding its possible future, the cause and motives for this opinion. My friend, these are the 10 points of reflection that you will work on once per day. First, do a conflict. The next, a situation, then a problem, and then consider a person. The 10 points will afford you a deep penetration into your mind and connect you with the light of these things. Let's take this example. Let's take an object, a table lamp. We start with our conscious thinking. First point, what is the origin of the lamp? Second, what is the cause for the origin of the lamp? Third, what is the history of the lamp? Fourth, the qualities and attributes of the lamp. Fifth, the objects connected or related to the lamp. Sixth, its use and application. Seventh, what are the effects and results from the use of the lamp? Eighth, what does the use of the lamp prove and explain? Ninth, what is the possible future of the lamp? And 10th, what is your opinion and reasoning for your opinion about the use of the lamp? As you can see, my friend, if you do this on a daily manner, once about a lamp, the other about a problem, then an inconvenience, a conflict, and a situation. Another example, a war. What is the origin of war? What is the cause of its origin? And so forth and so on. Plus, call for the light, and you'll eventually get to the bottom, to the truth of your world. In addition, when you complete your analysis, you will have practiced attention, concentration, and meditation, and you will be strengthening your mind. You will also arrive at a mental thoroughness of such magnitude that thousands and thousands of facts will come to your mind. And even further, you will have the answers to your questions. You will get to know so much about a situation or an object that you will enter into creative fields, But most important of all, you will have the light in your mind and heart. You will understand, comprehend, and see the root of all things, the reason for all things, without possibility of error. As you can see, my friend, we are placing in your hands a key which, on purpose, is made to be difficult. This work is not made for failures or the indolent. This work is not for people who are couch potatoes or prefer a magic wand. It is for all of those people who are tired of being slaves. This is for people who have been struggling day and night for a long time, but in adapting these principles and with effort, this person will take part in the change from slavery to liberation. Then, sometime close to the 120th day, once you are thinking clearly, following the above 10 points about tangible objects and intangible ones like sicknesses, economic problems, the relationship with our children, with the world, about all objects and things. It is difficult, but the key lies there. For if it were easy, the answer will come forth to your mind instantly, and your mind would not develop all of its potential and facilities. A mind that is not developed is blind and will yield wrong conclusions. This is the source of more conflicts. Let's continue with this principle. You will vanquish your conflicts if you consciously think about them according to the 10-point table until you understand them, not when you want to solve them. Let's repeat the new way for doing this principle, which is a way that has evolved naturally. You will make your conflicts disappear if you think cautiously about them according to the 10-step table, down to their last root, and not just because you want to solve them. This is the 5th step. The 6th step, my friend, is as follows. In the cosmos, where we are living, everything has a price, and I am not referring to the cost of this paper. I mean, the effort you must make to arrive at the truth and the light which will be the cause for your liberation from slavery. In addition to all the work that needs to be done to vanquish your conflicts, which will bring you total liberation, you will understand and decide to help other people to solve their conflicts. This only means that you will be awakened to the fact that life is worthless, even as a free man without conflicts, if around you continue to be many people, especially those closest to you, who are engulfed in their conflicts. Isn't it logical? I know that your common sense will bring you to the conclusion that if you have benefited from something, if you have received the light, then you have to pass it on to other people. So pick 7 men or women, those closest to you, those who live in your small world, and search for ways to transmit to them the 8th principle so they can meditate and think about it. Give them the exercises that you have done yourself and help them to complete them until they can, as well, arrive at the light. You will then be the sun of your world, of your small world. They, as well, will do it with others, and the small worlds will begin to shine, one after the other, so much so that rooms that were in the dark will seem to light up. The chain will extend from one place to another, helping to build a better world, the one we all want. This, my friend, is the legacy of conscious and awakened men of all ages in all time. Today it is arriving at your hands. It depends on what you do with it. So you must be on guard and alert. To what, you might say? Well, to the part within us, the lazy part, the inert part, the hesitant part, especially the part that lives in our mind and tries to run away from any type of mental effort. Remember when you were in high school? Remember when you had to solve those algebra problems? You had to make an effort, right? Then something would happen inside of you and you would close the book to do something else. How many times in your life have you been confronted with a situation that was uncomfortable to you, and this something came up in your mind, moving you to abandon your effort? My friend, we have gone through this too. We are aware of the problems you face. Knowing we did it before you gives you the confidence to continue. How can the mind cause you to fail? What is your attitude regarding the side of your mind that would want failure instead of liberation? This is the involutive part, this negligent and lazy part, the part that does not want to expend any effort and wants to keep you in slavery, with your feet firmly in the mud. You know very well that it will come up. Perhaps it has already shown itself while you were studying this lesson. What is your attitude towards this part of your mind? And what will be your behavior from now on? Will you let it take over your life? Will you let it fill your life with remorse, frustrations, and deception? You will not, right? Make up your mind. Get your courage up. Remember, we did it too. We traveled this road before you, and we want you to know you must prepare for a time of effort. From the time you start this effort, be ready and alert for a mental fight. It will happen over and over until you learn to discern your involutive mind as it responds to the thousands of circumstances and thoughts you will be passing through in your life experiences. When you start with your meditation work, you might suddenly think that your body is tired. This is the behavior of this involutive part of you. You may feel hungry, or it will prompt you to take care of other things. You will be weakened in many ways. You must see and understand how the involutive force will be acting in your case. The only way to do it is to arm yourself with courage and decide. Be alert and awake, and proceed. Prepare little notes. Put them on your desk, close to the place where you will be thinking about your conflicts. And always, always be aware of what's going on in your mind. You must discover it by observing yourself in order to realize how this force works on you. This force that will do everything possible so you will not acquire the light, so that you will not arrive at understanding and truth of your light and of your Creator's essence. This is why we alert you, because our enemy is not the world. It is not the cosmos. It is not others. It is not society. It is not a woman, or the children, or partners, or the traffic. It is not the high cost of living. None of these is our enemy. Our greatest enemy is inside of us. It is that part that tends to involution, that tends to push us backwards, that puts us into problems, that makes us spend more than necessary, that has the habit of blanking out of our memory what we need, of confusing our goals, of misleading our purposes, of wasting our objectives. It acts on its own for its own sake, and most of the time it controls us, holding us as slaves to it. This is how we are. The part we think is ourselves, in reality, is the involutive part of our mind that commands and dominates our situations, making us aware of the problems of others. It does with us whatever it wants, and is the root of our conflicts. The involutive part is the creator of the conflicts in our minds. It is the one that pulls us apart from the rest, the part that makes us to be selfish, liars, lazy, and hypocritical, makes us to be vain, afraid, and sorry. You must discover and recognize this part within you. You cannot destroy it, nor do you want to, because it is also the strength that permits you to act and will carry you to your liberation. But this force will not be at your service unless you learn to live with it by bringing it into agreement with you and under your control. You are both at the same time, the part that wants involution and the part that wants evolution. One part is in the light and the other in darkness, and both have to get together in common desire to give you your plan of life, which waits for you in the deepest part of your spirit. The plan your Creator has for you, your plan of life, only you can achieve, but you will not reach it unless there is harmony between your involutive and evolutive parts, unless you are your own master. We suggest that you get the other 11 principles because they are closely related to this message. We ask our common Creator to give you the valor and courage to initiate this activity to receive the light, and that He protect you and bless you if your heart is pure and open. Thank you.